Must have just pulled in there. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, wait.
Thanks for letting him know.
And I'll call the infrastructure meeting for May 2022 to order at 4:07. Councilor Moore here, Councilor Kelly,
Here.
Councilor Tower.
I am here.
and Mayor Rosebach.
Here.
At this time, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of April meeting of the infrastructure committee.
Motion.
Second, are there any corrections or additions? If not, I'll approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Draft resolution authorize, I gotta get this word right. Roof. Dewatering upgrades, contract 1E, Triangle Electric, change order E1.
Motion. Second.
I was kind of confused by this a little bit. What was this, John? It looked like it changed something.
Hard for me to remember the last week when I wrote this. This is actually I believe a deduct reconciliation change order. We build allowances into contracts so that for small changes or deviations from the work, we can keep the schedule moving and just authorize it. So whatever we built into this contract, we didn't use it all. So it's finalizing the contract and crediting us back the portion of the allowance that wasn't used. So it's actually a decrease in the total
That's what I
contract.
thought.
Yeah.
Take it away if you get it, man.
Okay, is there any other discussion on this item? If not, we'll proceed to vote on moving it to the regular agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. Draft resolution authorizing award for chemicals for work.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. I just have one question for you, John. Is that sodium disulfate, is that hard to come by? It looked like we only have one vendor that can provide that.
There usually we get at least 2, if not 3 or 4 bids. We didn't reach out to the other bidders to find out why they didn't bid, but most people are experiencing huge increases in costs and availability of materials, so it's hard to commit to pricing. So this chemical actually went up about 40% from last year. It cost us an extra approximately $30,000. So 2 or 3 months from now, we'll have bid all of our chemicals and our biosolids hauling to the disposal sites. They're all coming in higher. The transportation of biosolids is I think the last contract to come in. Then we're gonna have to talk about what we want to do with the budget, because you see what fuel prices are doing these days. So we're hauling it an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half away. So I know that didn't exactly answer your question, but across the board, we're experiencing difficulties in getting everything. So it's just stuff. So.
Thanks for that explanation, John. Anyone else have any questions? If not, all in favor of moving this to the regular meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Draft resolution authorize Lake Champlain Basin Program illicit discharge and elimination study phase 3.
Motion. Second.
Yeah, we had started this, what, about a year ago? Something like that?
Phase 2, yes, the original phase was probably 3 years ago, and then COVID hit and kind of got derailed a little bit. Basically, what this is to do is to study the storm sewers to see if it looks like there's any discharges of sanitary waste or sewage that shouldn't be in there. So all 3 phases have been funded almost entirely by the Lake Champlain Basin Program and the federal appropriations that they get. We hire a consultant, which is part of this resolution, to actually do the work. And we're required to provide a small match, which we so far have done with in-kind services. My time, some of Andrew's time, some of Mike's time, other staff time. So it really hasn't cost us anything out of pocket. So they're originally they identified a whole bunch of sewer discharges and decided which ones look like they may have some stuff getting to it that shouldn't be there. Follow up with phase 2, doing a little more focused work, and now phase 3 is really going after some of these.
Thanks, John. Is there any other further discussion? If not, we can proceed to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion is carried. Draft resolution drinking water infrastructure improvement act, phase 2 grant award acceptance.
Motion.
Second. This is a good thing, John.
It's a good thing from my perspective. So 4 years ago, we applied for Water Infrastructure Improvement Act funding in order to score high enough for the grant funding and financing. We put together a project that had everything that the system would need, from water supply to transmission to treatment plant upgrades to distribution system upgrades. There's $20 million worth of work, and we got a $3 million grant to do it, which left us on the hook for $17 million, which is a big nut. But they changed some of the parameters of the grant program, and we stepped back and we just divided the project into 4 $5 million phases, plus or minus, because the maximum grant award each year is $3 million, and it's 60%. So if you have a $5 million project, you max out, you get $3 million grant. We were able to convince the state to do it that way. So this is the second round of grants that they've awarded us the 60% of the $3 million for. It's going to include another well, more transmission lines, plant upgrades, and then some more replacement of asbestos cement pipe in the distribution system.
Is this going to go to the wells? I think that's that a later on project.
Well, right now phase 1 included an initial production well, power supply, transmission line to get into the existing transmission lines. This will be a second well in that well field. So we'll have the additional capacity up there to supplement Mead reservoir, in addition to maintaining the Westbrook reservoirs and the Saranac River as sources of supply.
Any other questions on this item? If not, we can proceed to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion is carried. Draft resolution authorized attendance at 2022 New York Water Environment Association Spring Technical Series Conference.
Awesome.
I'll second that. Any discussion on this item? That would be you, John?
Yes.
Very good. There being no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. Move on to community development. We have a draft resolution termination of daily parking permit program.
Motion.
Second. This is getting rid of our old program.
Yeah, this is the replacement of the $3 per day permit. As discussed, there's a different permitting schedule and fee structure for downtown parking that will be proposed and discussed on council at the 512 committee meeting to discuss a daily parking rate, which will replace this daily parking permit.
Any discussion on this item? If not, all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. Dissolution of Plattsburgh Parking Advisory Committee.
Motion.
Second.
I didn't know this was still alive.
Yeah, that's why we're dissolving it. It's one of those carryovers from the original 2018-2019 parking study, parking commission, and just cleaning up the that structure That doesn't mean we don't have or can't have room for future conversations or some type of parking commission. Just right now, we don't have plans on leveraging this advisory committee further.
Yeah, it's probably one of the longest committees we've had. Okay. Is there any other discussion on this item? Not all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public Works Infrastructure Report.
There's the current operational activities. Obviously, the number one is kind of come to the forefront here in the last couple of days. Vandalism, a lot of spray painting going on, a lot of breaking into buildings. Biggest one was we had the new retaining wall down at the old base marina was vandalized from one end to the other. We spent a good 2 days sandblasting a wall, so it cost of about $5,700, which was sent over to me. I don't know if they have someone, but it's very expensive. Having a hard time in South Acres. Dugouts are spray painted at least once a week. People are trying to break into the barn, ripping doors off. Melissa Penfield, we found out today, we were getting ready to open that bathroom. We had just gone through and rehabbed it. Again, they broke the door, messed up the floor in there, put a bunch of stuff down the toilets. So we got that back cleaned up today, but it's, yeah,
Wow.
can't have anything nice. And we're trying hard. The guys, you know, we have people to take care of the recreation facilities, but I'm spending more time picking up after people breaking stuff and not taking care of it than anything else. So something has to be done. Like I said, we've reported to the police department, but again, I can't have eyes on it all the time. We are continuing to work in the athletic fields, making good headway with them. I believe a lot of I think school is primarily using them currently. I think soccer fields, we're getting those striped, and I don't know if it's club play or what have you, but that stuff is ongoing. Spring cleanup, doing a lot of that. They know there was some work done the week before last. I think Courtney had spearheaded that, and based on what we picked up, the community or whoever got involved picked up a lot of material, and we got rid of it. So it's good for them. Pothole repair, we are transitioning from the the cold patch to hot material. We're going to start patching up, but also looking at larger repairs, using other different tools than just hand work.
On that note as well, I think Mike can speak a little bit to the a program that got funded this year for pothole paving, specifically for pothole paving. I believe the city received about $80,000 in funding for.
Yeah, that's correct. It's $80,000. It's the POP program. Unfortunately, my peers and myself really don't know how we can apply it. I'm assuming it's some sort of asphalt work. They call it the pothole program. I'm hoping will be used much like CHIPS money, where we can either contract out or buy materials. I'm assuming that's what it's going to be, for something along those lines. Usually there's a variation. Last year we got this new program, which I think is going to be a game changer if it's continuous in the city, which is the touring routes, which upped us from about an average of about $700,000 a year. And when we say CHIPS, it's CHIPS, Pave New York, and EWR funds. Now we have touring routes, which is another $2 million, and then this POP program, which is $80,000. So the state was very generous this year. As John noted, though, with the cost of fuel, I think anyone that's driven by a fuel pump, look at the diesel prices. Today it was $6.35 a gallon. There's rumors going to be $7.50 a gallon. So that could be a real problem. Asphalt prices as of last week ended up another $3.50 a ton. It's up $5.50 a ton from when we put our prices together for paving projects. Can we cover the projects we have out currently? Yes, we have ample funds for that, but we need to keep an eye on it nonetheless. But anyway, back to the mayor's topic. Yes, we have another $80,000 that was given our way, and hopefully we can make good use of it. carryover from last week, prepping for winter water main leak repairs. Again, we have Oak Street still to take care of, and a small item on Lower Court Street. We'll have to dig those up, make the repairs, and then there will be asphalt patching. Street sweeping, I know Councilor Moore brought that up at the last council meeting. Both trucks are out currently. Quite a bit to clean up still. It's going to be a while. Once we get under control, we'll scale back to one truck, and the second truck will go on to catch basin. UFPO volume, people, even with the increased prices, are still building. So we do have an increased volume in underground utility locations throughout the city, which is to be expected this time of year. Sewer cleaning and televising, we actually did some of that today. We ended up over at Iowa Circle, where we're getting ready to do a road improvement program. We did some televising and cleaning of a culvert over there, made some minor repairs, getting ready to do Iowa Circle. And then prepping for road resurfacing, which is in that general area, which will be Iowa Circle, Kansas, and Louisiana. Capital projects, the PSAP program is out to bid. How many people we have currently, Andrew?
I think there's 2 or 3 that looked at the plan so far.
Okay. Kogan Ave punch list. They are back on site. They did the lawn restoration work. We worked on some structures today. We're trying to get through that final list and close that project out. New York Road is out to bid. That is 3,200 feet of water line. Again, let's hope we get bidders on it.
That's long.
Yeah, but it's straight and it's an easy run. Beekman Street, we have preliminary drawings on design that we're going to take to the mayor review, and then obviously make the next step forward in it. But again, it's preliminary. And then DPW heating system, final billing. So we'll be closing that job out here. Well, actually, it's closed out. So the final bill came in for retainage. Staffing, DPW, we canvassed and interviewed for the engineering technician position. On the agenda tonight, we're putting forth a resolution to hire one of these individuals. We have also been advertising for seasonal temporaries, and we'll be looking to backfill a maintenance 1 position, which was vacated. We had an employee that we had hired. He didn't feel that this was his type of work, so.
Lasted for about, what, 3 or 4 days?
I got a week and a half, right?
A week and a half.
I got a week and a half, which it happened. You know, he left on good terms, and we wished him well, and that happens all the time. Miscellaneous stuff. I did meet with the contractors to look at the next phase of heat pumps for City Hall. I've been trying to stay out of the way of the window contractors, but I do want to stay ahead of it and hopefully get some pricing, get equipment ordered. We're looking at council chambers, the environmental manager's office, and the building inspector's office. And the last phases will be the 3rd floor, hopefully next year. The size of the office, no, we did put it in there, but the size of the office will probably just be smaller. The difficult part is putting the equipment in and not messing up the aesthetic integrity of the building. We're trying to hide this stuff the best we can, but these walls are very difficult to work with. Questions on anything we're working on?
You and I spoke briefly today about the paving schedule. Just touch on that.
First phase of paving, we're looking 3rd or 4th week in May, which should put us out ahead of most of the counties and towns. And then next month, we'll be looking at the 2nd phase, and we'll just have to decide whether it's going to be Bridge Street area or George Angel and or the up on the hill, which would be St. John's Hartwell area. So, and like I said, we'll do it, and then probably a 3rd phase, which will go into the following month. The first phase will be in a month.
I know we had talked about getting uniform trash containers.
Yep.
It's still in the works.
Already done. We did use a purchase order was signed. We bought the first 742, I believe it is. It fits on a truck. And those will be for the bi-weekly customers. So they will go out. They have to work out a system of getting them to the customers, having them receive them, sign for them, and but getting them into the system. And once we have that under control, it's again, it's a tractor trailer, which is 53 feet long, so it's a lot of handling. So we're gonna kind of bring them in phases.
Anyone else have any questions?
We also talked about GPS on our DPW vehicles. That's in the works right now as well. So we're talking snow plows, sweepers, and garbage and garbage collection. So that not only can we be more efficient in that process, but if somebody has a question about, hey, you didn't come pick up my garbage, we can say, well, our truck drove by at this time on this date, and we either missed you or you either didn't put your stuff out. So at the very least, we know where our trucks are going to be and when. That way we can be a little bit more responsive to customers' concerns.
And one step further would be in the future with new recycle and new garbage trucks, the totes, for instance, have the RFID chip, I guess, in them, so we can actually tell if we've actually tipped a tote. There's no extra cost for that. It's in there. Now, the extra cost would be in the future when we buy a new garbage truck, having the hardware to read that, but we will be able to tell when we tipped it.
Sound good. Okay. Any other questions, Mike? Nope. Thank you, Mike. Draft resolution for Plattsburgh City Council declaring. You have a motion to move that to the regular agenda.
Motion.
Okay, so a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, I just want to make a comment that it doesn't seem like a whole great idea to let your lawn grow for a whole month, especially in the spring. And I'm assuming, Mr. Mayor, that we're going to still enforce our, foot high grass.
It's 10 inches. That's the code, and we use the uniform municipal code. I think it's the uniform New York State municipal code for property maintenance. And I believe I shared that around. I shared that around the council to review. I think the consensus on council was not to legislate this as a requirement, but rather as an encouragement to support some of the environmental concerns that are outlined in the legislation. But at this point, if the council approves, we will ask the building inspector's office to postpone any enforcement of that 10-inch code for the month, and come June, request residents cut down their lawn to the appropriate length. But also, as discussed, we've talked about the Raise the Blade campaign, which is something that we have done in partnership with the Lake Champlain Basin program for a number of years now, which we send out information to residents to ask them to not cut their lawn down past 3 inches, leave, raise the blade up to 3 inches to leave that kind of buffer. And so that is also in combination with this council initiative.
Well, that makes a whole lot more sense than just letting it go for a whole month.
I'm gonna be honest. The way my grass is growing now, I don't know if I'm gonna make it till May 31st. I'll
My
try.
lawnmower's broken, so I don't have a choice.
I'll try to make it to May 31st, but I can't really promise that I'll do it. But I will raise my blade. Promise on that.
Yeah, that seems like a much better idea. Just letting it go. Anyway. Is there any further discussion on this item? If not, proceed to vote to move it to the regular agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All against, nay. Motion is carried.
Pardon?
I didn't know. I don't think. it's
Three to the positive, 1 to the negative. Councilor Moore.
Okay, draft resolution, mayor is authorized to sign extension addendum to CBC real estate.
I'll make that motion, please.
Second, and I have a question about that.
Yes, please go ahead. That's okay.
What's your intent with this?
Yeah, so there's still a couple of properties that we're looking at offloading in the city. They're still being actively advertised by CSC. There have been a couple of conversations for pursuing that. The challenge is that their contract is up. And rather than pull the rug out from underneath their efforts, I'd like to extend their contract for 1 more year as they continue the efforts to market the properties that we currently have actively for sale.
One of
Makes
them, the former MLD.
Correct.
What were the other ones?
Right now, I believe that's the only one that we have actively for sale. We have talked about a number of other city-owned properties. The asbestos survey that council approved last regular meeting also addresses some of the concerns for vacant properties with existing buildings that we would like to eventually remediate and tear down to make those properties marketable for sale and development. But right now, there are no other active properties that we're looking to pursue for sale. But as most of you all know, we have had conversations about selling some of the more marketable pieces as we sold the Chaplain's House last year. There's also other properties that are very marketable that we would like to start to entertain to get back onto the tax roll.
Which is the NLD buildings up there?
6 Miller Street.
That's what I thought. Okay,
6 Miller Street.
where we used to pay those.
Right there. Yeah. It's 6, right? I was confused. I always said 10, but 10 I think is the, yeah, 10 is the post office. We're not selling. So, yeah. Any other questions about that? Concerns? Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, you signify by saying aye.
Okay.
All right.
Opposed, motion is carried. New business.
Council Moore, I had no new business at this point.
I just had one comment, not sure, it'll take very long, but I was wondering when we were gonna see on the agenda about putting the money into the farmer's market. It's gonna be opening up soon. And really need to get some exhaust fans in there before the hot one.
Believe, when did we say that we were gonna put that back onto the agenda for consideration?
So capital projects already been created. I'm in touch with AEA about putting together a formal scope of work, but based on the amount we expect the cost, we're gonna have to bid it publicly, so it's gonna be another, I would say, at least month or two before we can get construction actually started.
And what about an estimate, an engineer's estimate for that work?
For all of the requested work, I think it was somewhere between 70 and 80,000, and the council had previously approved as part of the 2022 capital plan, $130,000 for phase improvements to the farmers market. So that, unless the costs come in well above the engineer's estimate, we should fall within that guideline.
Okay, so we need a spending resolution to council for, well, we need to go out to bid for the architects, engineers report. Once that comes back, we accept the bid and then.
Capital project adjustments to reflect this.
And then we just start to chip away at that work.
Yeah, one piece of good advice for the exhaust fans, you need to put variable speed control on those fans. Because there's a big difference between the weather up here from week to week. When it's hot, you need a bigger draw. When it's cooler, you want to be able to dial those down.
Is it variable speed control and exhaust fans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very important. Okay. I guess, is there any further new business? Then we move to public comment. See here. Mr. Chairman, the motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried.
Great. Thanks, folks. See you in about 20 minutes.